Back in my day, you literally had to pirate this stuff. You have no idea how lucky you are.
Yahoo! Konnichiwa! Welcome back. My name is Abby. I lived in Japan for 3 years. I speak fluent Japanese, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about Netflix shows. So during the pandemic, I watched a lot of Netflix. Who didn't? Literally, there was nothing else to do. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you what shows I watch, what shows I recommend, and why I think that those are really good for Japanese learning, or just why I think they're interesting and why you should watch them. So first of all, I wanna talk about how I study. And this is something I've been doing for years, since literally like 2015, 2016. But when you hear a word you don't understand in the show that you're watching, pause the show, rewind, listen to it again a couple times, hear the word, and write it down. And be sure to compare it to the subtitles so that you know you're getting the right word and not an entirely different one. I use the Note app on my iPhone. I have a whole just like list of words that I learned from watching shows. I open up my app and I write in the kanji of the word, and then I write in the hiragana for the word. I write what the word means in English. Sometimes I'll write out an entire phrase, so I'll write what that phrase means in English, and then I'll use the word in a sentence. Or I'll have a longer explanation if there's multiple meanings for this word. Then later, after you have a decent amount of words in your notes, you just transfer them over to a notebook. People ask me for recommendations for learning Japanese all the time, and my biggest recommendation is to just do something that you think is fun. Just sitting and studying for hours on end, while it is helpful and you should do that sometimes, is not necessarily the best way to learn, because you're gonna get burnt out and you're gonna start to hate it eventually. So if you want to enjoy your learning experience, you should do something you enjoy, and who doesn't enjoy watching their favorite shows? So let's talk about my recommendations. Best overall, A Silent Voice. This movie is amazing. The animation is beautiful. It got record reviews. It's super popular. It has a great story. It's deep. You'll laugh, you'll cry. It's just a phenomenal piece of art, and I highly recommend you watch it, even if you're not trying to learn Japanese, just because it's a great movie. I'm pretty sure they have an English dub version too, though dubs are questionable in my opinion. Best for learning, Terrace House. If you like Japan, you've probably heard of Terrace House. For years, it was Japan's #1 reality show until some unfortunate events a couple years ago led to it being discontinued. I'm not really gonna get into that here, but if you wanna look it up, I recommend it. Terrace House is just about normal people doing normal things, and that is it. That is literally it. Rosie D, the YouTuber, did like a great impression of what Terrace House is, so I'm gonna show that to you.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Are you working today?
No, today I've got the day off.
Oh, okay.
I might go grocery shopping.
Oh yeah, we need more milk.
Yeah.
You want to go out for barbecue later tonight?
Sure.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, I'm off.
All right, take care.
I'm not gonna lie, I think Terrace House is so boring. Unlike American reality TV shows, they don't try to script it. You just get these really normal people and they just do things, and that's the show. So even though it's like kind of boring and not much happens, I really recommend this show for Japanese learning, because this is the most accurate to life Japanese you're gonna hear. These are literally just really normal everyday conversations. So if you're looking to study Japanese, this is the best place to start. Most thrilling, Alice in Borderlands. If you like Squid Game, here's the better one. I'm gonna say it. Alice in Borderlands was way better than Squid Game. This whole like game to the death thing is not new news in Japan. There's a billion shows like this. I literally binged the whole thing in like 2 days. It's so good. I don't want to give away too much of the story, because plot twists and the turns and like all the things you don't know are exactly what makes the show so good, so I don't want to say too much about it. There's a scene in the beginning where they go past Shibuya Crossing, and then when they come out, no one's there and it's completely empty. And it absolutely blew my mind, because my school was right next to Shibuya Crossing and I had never seen it with no people. I took to Instagram and I was like,
oh my god, how did they do this? Is Shibuya Crossing that empty because of COVID?
I came to find out later that this is actually filmed in the countryside of Japan on this huge fake like replica of Shibuya Crossing. But I kid you not, the CGI is so absolutely perfect that I, who have been to Shibuya Crossing a million times, literally could not tell the difference. I highly recommend this show, and if you haven't watched it yet, get your boyfriend, get your girlfriend, get your dog, get your family member, sit down and just watch the show. Most relevant, Odyssey Voyage Diary. So if you don't know who Odyssey is, They are the biggest boy band in Japanese history. They started in 1999 and they've been going for 21 years now. And they finally took a hiatus, aka broke up, in 2020, and with that Netflix released a documentary about the history of Arashi, how they came to decide to break up, like their final tour video, I think. Arashi is like so popular in Japan. They're beloved by everyone. Can you imagine if the Backstreet Boys were still loved by everyone for 20 years? Like they just kept releasing music. This is a Japan-only phenomena, I'm pretty sure. You can start singing any one of Odyssey songs, and there's somebody that's gonna be able to sing along. I highly recommend you learn a couple of Adashi's hits if you're moving to Japan, and then bust those out at karaoke, and the Japanese people are gonna love you. You're gonna make friends like that. Just trust me. It works. Honorable mention, Demon Slayer and other shonen/fantasy anime. Okay, look. Disclaimer, I love Demon Slayer. I'm not even that big of a shonen fan, but I loved Demon Slayer, Team Zenitsu, all the way. I saw Mugen Train in theaters and I cried. But if you're trying to learn Japanese, don't use Demon Slayer or shonen anime. And here's why. The Japanese used in shonen anime is usually not normal everyday Japanese. You're gonna get a lot of made up words, you're gonna get a lot of fantasy words, and you're gonna get a lot of sometimes old Japanese. Like Demon Slayer takes place in like 1910. It was a long time ago, and the Japanese dialects are different now. Picture a Japanese person using Game of Thrones to learn English. You might learn how to say Mizu no kokyu, hokuban, but you're not gonna learn how to order at a restaurant. Regardless, if you like shonen anime and that's your thing, language is language. Just try to immerse yourself in as much Japanese as possible, but just remember that shonen anime is not necessarily a reflection of actual everyday Japanese. Watching Japanese shows is a great way to learn. I learned a lot of Japanese this way, even before I went to Japan. It really helped me understand like informal language and how friends talk to each other, and it was a huge help in my learning journey. So I highly recommend you check it out. Now that Japanese shows are actually readily available on big major streaming services like Netflix and HBO Max, it gives us a huge upper hand for Japanese learners, that we don't have to go crawling through the back rooms of the internet on some sketchy site that's definitely gonna give us a virus just to watch one episode without subtitles in 360p. Anyway, that's all I have for today. If you've seen any of the shows that I recommended today, or if you have any other recommendations, feel free to leave them down for me in the comments. I want to get into a fight about whether Team Zenitsu or Team Tanjiro or Team Yonosuke is better, so please feel free to talk about that as well. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say, and I'll see you next time. じゃあね、ありがとう。